I used to try on clothes owned by the woman who hired me to babysit. While in high school, I used to babysit for a couple in my area. They were fairly well off and the mother was also quite fashionable. At night, I used to go into the closets and try on her clothes. This included dresses, heels, fur coats and probably a few other things I don't remember. I was always careful to not damage anything and leave it as I left it, but I feel kind of bad about it now.
I hit a parked BMW with a loose traffic sign and ran without leaving a note. This happened a few years ago. I was at the station after school and saw that a giveaway sign had been pulled out. I don't know why, but if I ever see something fixable in public, I try to fix it. I've been doing this since I was about 14. So, I picked the sign up and put it back in the hole in the ground, along with the 2 pins that are meant to keep it upright. I let it stand but realized it might fall. But while readjusting it, it slipped out of my hand and smashed a parked BMW's front windscreen before sliding and scraping all the paint off of the hood. I was behind a row of cars so no one saw me from the road or the station. I was only 16 so I obviously couldn't pay for it, so I just ran. It's been 4 years and I cringe every time I think about the sound it made and how much it probably cost. I got my friend in trouble by writing bad words in his school diary. Over 20 years ago now, there was this one day in primary school where I was left alone with my friend's diary. This diary was for teachers to long homework and any other notes they had for students' parents. I opened it up to the most recent entry and wrote fucker, fuck you, and bitch. Yes, bitch, without the T. He got in trouble, and claimed he didn't do it, so our teacher asked every single one of us one at a time if we did it or not. Nobody owned up and I didn't confess, so he was the one who was blamed in the end. I made fun of a kid's name a long time ago in 4th grade. In 4th grade, one told a kid, "Wow, is your name Ruin, 'cause you ruin things." I felt bad afterwards. I don't know why I made fun of his name, 'cause I've never been the type to bully. Especially since I know how it feels. Gotta say, I actually found his name to be kinda cool. Maybe my jealousy caused me to act out in such a cruel way. It's still something I think about at night. Sometimes I stay awake just thinking, why did you make fun of his name? It's a cool name. What if his home life was going downhill, and you just hit a sensitive spot? I hope he's doing okay, and I didn't ruin his name for him. I attempted several times to set my school on fire when I was a kid. I went to a small primary school in a very rural village. I was the outsider, so I got bullied pretty badly. It was mainly psychological stuff, like insulting me, stealing and breaking my stuff, acting like I'm the grossest being on earth, trying to lock me in a trash container and stuff like that, but I've also been beaten up a fair few times. I'm not telling you this because I would like to be pitied, I just want to explain my reasoning behind what I did. When my mother found out, she reached out to my teacher, but that made everything way worse. I just wanted to get out of that place. Due to the village being in the middle of nowhere, I had no chance to change schools. But I also felt like I couldn't put up with that for almost 2 more years. I started to fantasize about school burning down constantly. At one point I noticed that schools don't just burn down like that, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. Luckily, I was still young, maybe around 7 when I made my first attempts and My first attempts consisted of me stuffing a lot of paper behind the heating, because my mom always told me not to put paper behind and between the heating because it would catch fire. Apparently my mom was wrong about it. I probably just annoyed the heck out of the poor cleaning staff. I ended up stealing a lighter from my mom. She was used to me getting home late from school. I would always hide after class, so I waited until no one was around. Now this school consisted of a lot of smaller, but in some odd way connected buildings. So I found a spot where nobody would see me. Again, I was young and dumb, so I tried to set some of the weird plastic stuff that was on the outside walls of the building on fire. It just kind of melted a bit, but nothing happened. I tried things similar to that a few more times, but as I never thought of bringing any kind of fire accelerant, I never really did a lot of damage. I never got anything to actually burn. Looking back, I'm astounded that nobody noticed that I tried to set my school on fire at least 6 times, plus the paper in the heating stuff. I can't believe I never got caught. Nowadays I'm fairly glad I was too young and dumb to actually set school on fire. Pretty sure that if I had succeeded there would have been some pretty nasty consequences. I'm almost 18 now, moved out a year ago, and I'm going to a really good school now. I'm looking forward to probably going to university next year. Aside from a few bonfires and a math exercise book, I haven't set anything on fire since primary school.
We bribed a kid in our high school to take the blame for an adult video cassette. So when I was schooling, before internet was popular, video cassettes and magazines of adult content were popular among seniors. But obviously they were banned in the school, most of us being kids must have been the reason. So they often screened out classes and bags for adult content. So one day, one tape was caught in the gym, and it belonged to me and my friends. But the tape was on a cupboard, so they couldn't find who it was. However, the principal said if no one comes forward, he will add that to the school permanent record of all students in our class. So we all were afraid, but luckily nobody in our class betrayed us. We were looking for some solution to the issue. Somehow, a person from the previous class in the gym came to us. He was known to be a thug in the school with a bad rep. Anyway, I had no personal problem with him. So he said, if you give me $200, I will accept the tape as mine. I am not proud of what we did, but we agreed to his terms and collected $200 within 2 days and gave it to him. And apparently he is a man of his words, he accepted, and with his previous record nobody thought twice of it. And as I heard, even the principal was like, oh, this guy, no problem, we can't punish him, he is way too corrupted. He was not punished as well. And we got away. If you shut down offensive people, you also shut down people who need to be heard, aka minorities. What comes around goes around. Literally, who is to decide what someone is allowed to say and what not? After being banned on Instagram for making a very harmless joke and getting banned on Facebook for letting slip something inappropriate, I realized how absolutely absurd it is, how easy everyone is to shut down something that offends them. Who are you to shut them down? You do realize someone could find anything pro-LGBT offensive and therefore feel like it's justified to shut this down. It all works on the same principle. Some find it offensive, so they shut this down. And then there is trauma victims who find very unpredictable things offensive, so they shut this down. And nobody will ever find common ground because what is offensive to one isn't to the other, and there you have mods power tripping over smallest things. They are literally taking my voice away. Even if it's justified, but if one isn't allowed to say something he wants to, this could bite you in the back later when they decide that suddenly LGBT is offensive again and you're the one who is being silenced. It's very dangerous to silence people. You never know when what you need to say is suddenly forbidden. You can shut down people all you want, at the end of the day you will stir up such resentment for what you are protecting from harsh words that they will find a different way to attack completely without those harmless words you're so scared of, and then you really have to be scared. Let this be said.